All right. We'll try this another time. I have a feeling I may have found something that will be very helpful to a lot of people. But before I tell you about it, I'd like to talk about what the problem is that this solution, well, will address. Right? It does no good to know what it helps you with if you don't know what it is that you need help with. So, with that confusing introduction, I talked to the kids last night about the most popular video game that has been made in the recent history of video games. And that is the Sims franchise. And see, in The Sims, you don't get superpowers. You don't get to carry a big sword or fight monsters. You don't get to fly. You don't get to do any of the cool stuff that video games normally let you do. You don't even get to walk around a little maze going waka 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 and eating cherries. In fact, you spend most of your time sleeping and getting up and showering and keeping track of your friends and going to work, and basically it's a lot like life. Only it's not all the fun parts of life. It's all the babysitting and boring parts of life. And I don't really understand why people are so fascinated with it. And yet they are. As far as I know, it's the best-selling video game. It's the most popular one. And so while we were talking about this, I suggested that there are people who make, say, 30,000 euros or $30,000 a year, and they manage to live comfortably. There are others who make that much money, and they're buying things on credit cards and trying to pay off their credit cards, and they're always in debt, and they're working all their spare minutes and trying to get overtime and working a second job because it's not enough money. And I can understand that money can be tight. But if I've got a family of 4 that's making ends meet on $30,000 or euros a year, then a family of 4 that's making 50,000 a year should have it easy. Right? They can pay the bills with 30,000 and have 20,000 just to play with. And yet I challenge you to look, you'll find that they're not taking it easy. The people making 50,000 a year are trying to get overtime at work and taking second jobs and buying on credit cards and struggling to pay them off. And the people making 80,000 and the people making 120,000, the same thing. And this doesn't make sense to me. If you can live on 30,000 a year and you're making 120,000, you should hardly have to work at all, and you should have lots of spare time and lots of spare money. And yet I see people making a larger salary who are still struggling, still stressed. They run around all the time wondering how they're going to pay the bills, how they're going to make it work. And they're nervous and they're tense and they suffer high blood pressure and heart problems and all kinds of physical symptoms from too much tension. And if any of you wonder, this isn't mysticism. Your medical community recognizes that being stressed raises your blood pressure, causes various health trouble. Doctors will sometimes tell you, you need to work less. You need to take a vacation. You need to have a lower stress job. This stress in your life causes you physical problems. And for those who aren't obsessed with working too many hours, they often fill their life with too many activities. I spoke of a family I knew that complained about having to go out every single night because of all their social obligations, this group and that group and that group, and they moved to a new state. And I asked them, are you happy now that you don't have to go out every night? And they said, yeah, it's kind of nice to have some time. Within a month or 2 months, I talked to them, oh, we're so stressed, we have obligations every single night, we never have time for ourselves. And I said, 2 months ago you didn't have obligations every night. Quit. Take a couple nights off and relax. Oh no, we can't. We have these obligations. And it struck me that this family wanted to be busy every single night. They wanted to be desperately running from thing to thing and never have time to relax. There are people who play video games, and some of you are them, and some of you have met them. There's the cartoon with the four little boys, the one that always gets killed, the little fat boy.
South Park.
South Park, there you go. There's a South Park episode about this. The little kids start playing a video game and they get so obsessed. They spend all their time there and they just can't quit and they get desperate. And this same attitude that can be applied to a job, to working enough hours, to making enough money, can be applied to social things and can be applied to, say, video games. You know, you play an hour each day and your character levels up and it's fun and you explore. But then you get obsessed. But I have to get this next thing. I have to run this instance 4 more times, or I have to find and kill this many kobolds and collect this many kobold ears, and I got to keep going, and I got to keep going. And it becomes a kind of desperate obsession where you're not enjoying the game anymore. You're just struggling to get the next block of diamond to put in your little square blocks building, or to get the next kobold ear, or to make the next level, or the better set of armor, or to raise your PvP score. It's not fun anymore. It's this intense, desperate struggle. I've known many people who are having trouble staying awake at work or in school because they stayed up all night playing this game to get to just the next little level, the next little bit. The television show about the 4 very smart guys and the neighbor across the hall, The Big Bang, that's the one. They also have an episode on this. The neighbor across the hall starts playing a game, and within a very short time she's losing days because she's so obsessed and she can't quit and she's going crazy and she's missing work. And this kind of obsession is so common that all of your TV shows talk about it, and all of you have seen it in yourselves and your friends. Now, I want to suggest to you that this is a clinically obsessive behavior. It's obsessive. You're obsessed with a thing. Right? Now, I've worked with some people over the years who had anorexia or bulimia. And they would carefully count how many calories were in the salad, and they would then go to the gym and figure out just how many minutes they had to spend on the treadmill to burn off all those calories. And the behavior was obsessive. I have to do it, I have to do it. And it was this constant obsession and struggle. And when I look at the way businesses are run around the world today, there's an obsession with making more and more money, being more and more successful. Tom Robbins says in Half Asleep in Frog Pajamas, business is like a fire. You build up a fire, you sit around it, you keep warm, it's nice at night, you tell stories. But businesses have gotten so obsessive that if they don't make more profit this quarter than last quarter, they think something's wrong. They have to constantly keep growing. And he says anybody, even a very primitive person, could tell you, if you keep building a fire bigger and bigger and bigger, eventually you're going to burn up all the fuel, or the fire will get so big it burns out of control and destroys everything. There are parents who want their kids to get into a good school, a good university. And so at age 2, they're obsessing about getting them into the right preschool or the right preschool. And then all of their time is spent struggling to make sure their child is at the top of their class in the very best schools, in grade school and high school, and in the hopes that, 20 years from now, they'll be good in university. And I have a feeling that forcing your 2-year-old to spend hours each day studying in order to get good grades in their preschool would be considered by most to be obsessive. Not healthy for anybody. You see it in social groups. I saw a television show about a detective. Perhaps it was a detective who plays chess. And the people who had this crime happen were people who collected swizzle sticks. Now, if you don't know what swizzle sticks are, they're little plastic sticks, disposable ones, that bars put in their drinks to stir them, and they leave the stick in there. Sometimes they have a little logo with the name of the bar on them. And these group of people were the International Swizzle Sticks collectors. And one of the members of the group so much wanted to be the top dog that she stole the swizzle stick from this guy who was currently the top dog, so that he wouldn't have it and he couldn't be top dog anymore. And even when confronted, television show was called Las Vegas. Even when she was confronted with it, she denied it. Even when shown a video of her reaching in and taking it, she denied it. And finally she breaks down, but it's just so much pressure. I just have to be the best. And swizzle sticks are not a life and death matter. Hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions, are disposed every day. And yet this obsession was expressed there. Some of you have probably found it in school, an obsession to get the best grade in the class, or perhaps socially, an obsession to be popular, to be the most popular, an obsession to throw the best party. The more that I've looked around, the more that I've found that this obsession is almost universal in this world. Everywhere around this world, I find this obsession being expressed, even in small children. And I look at the increase in cancer in society over the last 100 years. And I can trace it back to the increasing amount of tension and anxiety and fear that people are carrying because of this same obsession. People are dying younger every year of heart disease. People are coming down with high blood pressure at younger and younger ages. All of these different physiological dysfunctions, they're increasing in number, and they're beginning at earlier and earlier ages. And when I look at this, they all seem to be connected to the same kind of obsessive behavior. Someone is doing something so obsessively, trying desperately to be the best they can, trying desperately to control, trying desperately to put some structure in their life. Whether it's anorexia or being the best CEO or throwing the best party in your junior high school, this obsession is ubiquitous. It's everywhere. And the more that I have looked, the more that I have found that it truly is ubiquitous. It's not just a handful of people. It's pretty much 100% of the world's population today is dealing with this kind of obsession. For the people in Elfpath, you'll find responses often, it probably won't be a surprise to you, where someone says, I'm not in my guts. Oh no, what do I do? I'm not in my guts. Oh, I'm failing. I'm a terrible person. When they should be saying, oh, I'm not in my guts. Okay, I'm in my guts. I'm not grounded. Okay, I'm grounded. It's easy. And yet, there's all this self-criticism and the violence of the self and the frustration, and I've got to do it right, and I've got to be better, and this obsession shows up amongst you guys too. I watched some folks tonight dealing with eating. Oh, I have all kinds of issues with eating, and it's so scary, and I don't know what to do. And she sat there with food on her plate and fussed for 30 minutes without taking a bite because she was so obsessed about doing it wrong or getting it right. I said, okay, it's food, I'll eat it. Push my happy button and eat something. Right? You think hop, hop, baby sheep, and you take a bite or whatever your happy button is. And a lot of this stuff is astoundingly simple. And yet, you've probably all found it in yourself. This time where you're going, oh no, it's wrong, I'm screwing up, I can't do this, it's too much, it's terrible. Stop, breathe, get in your guts, ground. Oh no, I'm too stressed to get in my guts. Well, Okay, now we've acknowledged you're stressed. Get in your guts. Breathe, ground. No, I can't do it! Ah! There are times that having that level of intensity can be good. If you're in a place where you have to make a change quickly, where something really needs your attention, in a case where a child's about to run in front of a car, or perhaps a child is just here screaming, you may need to act quickly. You can't sit there for 20 minutes and find your happy button while your child is screaming. You may have to act quickly and correctly. But the vast majority of the time, you don't have to. You say, oh, I'm out of my guts. I'm back in my guts. Wow. I'm not grounded? Okay, stomp, stomp, I'm grounded. I'm not breathing? Oh, I'm breathing. See how easy that was? Right? And it really is. I have gone out of my way to make most of these procedures really, really simple. Ground center breathe is a simple thing. And yet when people say, I'm having trouble, there must be something wrong with me, I'm freaking out, I don't know what to do, and they get more and more tense and frustrated and upset, and you start obsessing, am I my guts, am I my guts, am I my guts, am I my guts? Well, stop obsessing and just get in your guts. Oh. And so I see this behavior not just all over the world. I do see it all over the world. I see it causing trouble between nations. I see it causing businesses to destroy environments and chain people to desks in third world countries until they've sewn enough units they're allowed to go home, and run sweatshops even in first world countries, take immigrants and lock them up. And I've seen it in banks and businesses and courtrooms, and I've seen it in families. I've seen it tear families apart. I've seen it in children and teens and theoretical adults. This sort of intensity that leads to obsession. I see it everywhere. And I have a feeling that every one of you, if you look honestly, you'll find the same thing in yourself. There have been times you've gone, oh my God, I don't know what to do! Ah! That you have had this same intensity leading to truly obsessive behaviors. I have a feeling it's in everyone. We were discussing this last night, and you don't need to listen to that recording because that one doesn't have a solution. This one does. I spent into the wee hours of the morning and got up and worked on it some more today to see if I could find what is the fundamental under this tension leading the obsession and what we do about it. And I feel like I have found the piece that will solve all this. I've just got to find a way to communicate it to you effectively. So, imagine you're 8 years old. You've spent your whole life in a home for unwanted children, or whatever the politically correct term is now. And you've slept in a tiny bed and taken cold showers and eaten terrible food and got picked on by all the other kids and never had your own stuff. I mean, you've had a tough life. Just imagine this. Right? Now imagine somewhere in the autumn, you're 8 years old and a family adopts you. And they're amazing people. They love each other, they love you, they give you your own room, they get you all new clothes, they get you whatever you want, they help you to eat better, you get a nice warm shower or bath, no more cold showers, and it's really amazing. And yet you probably wake up at night sweating and shaking, thinking, oh, this was all just a dream, I'm still back in that horrible orphanage. Right? And as you're trying to adapt, you've got all this tension, even all this wonderful stuff is going on. Now, I want you to imagine it's December. And you've never had a Christmas, right? And Christmas is coming up. And your new family, they're asking you, what do you want for Christmas? What kind of wonderful toys? And they're showing you all these possibilities. And you see the Christmas tree put up, and you see this big pile of gifts start building up under there. And, all this tasty food they're preparing, and parties and fun, and it's just really, really cool. And you're still pretty unsure because you've never had this before, but this is going to be your first Christmas. You're going to get up and open all those gifts and play with all those things. It's going to be really amazing. Right? How do you suppose you would feel? Do you suppose you'd feel excited? Hey, all those gifts are for you. No other kid's going to take them. Nobody's going to beat you up. You can have second helpings and thirds. All this pie and tasty stuff. That'd be pretty cool, yeah? You've never had it. It's your first Christmas. This would be really awesome. This would be the ultimate dream. This is what you've wanted your whole life, and it's happening. I think you'd feel pretty excited. Right? Let me tell you, the night before Christmas, you probably won't be able to sleep. Your heart will be beating fast. Maybe you're sweating a little bit. Your blood pressure will be high. You'll have all of this physical stuff going on. Your stomach's probably upset. You're jittery. And someone might say, well, your blood pressure's up, your heart's racing, you sweating, you're jittery, your stomach's upset. Clearly there's something wrong in your life. But it's not. There's something right in your life. You're so excited about this new opportunity, this thing you've never had happen before, that you simply can't relax. That's what it is. It's so much excitement. Yeah? Now, I have suggested to you many times, and I'm telling you very firmly, that right now humanity is changing. It is going through a moment of evolution. This is not, over the next 1,000 years you'll gradually have a little less hair or your tail will get shorter. This is going through a moment of evolution. Humanity's moving from a level where laws and rules and the social stuff matters to a higher level where there won't be a need for wars to settle conflicts, where we'll actually care enough about people that we'll see that people are fed. We're going to see crime drop off substantially and violent crime almost totally. And it may take 100, 150 years for all of these things to settle down, but the change to get there is happening right now, right this minute. In essence, individually and as a whole group, as a species, you're like this little kid. You've only ever known the orphanage. Bad food, cold showers, other people picking on you and calling you names and taking your things, and suddenly you've got all this wonderful stuff that's in front of you. And your response, individually and as a whole species, is excited. It's, oh my goodness, look at this, look at that, wow, it could be this. And you may not see it consciously, but that doesn't matter. Your guts can feel it. Your guts are going, oh my God, look at all this. And they're getting so excited that you're feeling your heart rate go up, and your breathing increase, and your blood pressure increase, and your stomach a little upset, and maybe you're kind of breathing fast, hyperventilating, and you're seeing all these physical signs. But because you don't realize what's happening, you're saying, oh no, something's wrong, I'm nervous, I'm scared, I'm terrified. And most of you have heard me say before that what someone's angry about is almost never what they're upset about. Right? Maybe you're having a really bad day, maybe your boss or your coworker was mean, maybe you did badly in school or another kid said something mean, and it's just been building all day that you're upset. When you're coming home, somebody flips you off, or somebody yells at you, or your sibling or your spouse or whoever doesn't do what you expect. And you're so upset already that when this happens, you think, aha, you didn't do this or you did that. That's what I'm upset about. Then you start getting angry. I'm angry because that guy flipped me off in traffic. I'm angry because my spouse didn't do this. I'm angry because his socks are on the floor, or she left her frilly things hanging up in the shower. The truth is that you're upset because you've had this upset building all day and you haven't gotten your guts and grounded to get rid of it. Right? But you don't look at that. You look at the thing that sets it off, that pops it into your awareness. Frilly things in the shower, again! Socks on the floor, again! And when that happens, you have something to focus on. And you start thinking about that. You never pick your stuff up, you're a terrible person. And you get more and more angry about the socks or the frilly things or the person in traffic or somebody who said something. And this is what you're angry about. Anybody could ask you, why are you angry? Oh, frilly things in the shower again. This is what you're angry about, but what you're upset about is the stuff that's been building all day. All the stuff in here that's screwing you up has been going on all day. So what you're upset about and what you're angry about are almost always different. If somebody says, I'm angry because, ignore them. They have no idea what they're talking about. All that matters is they feel anger and they get to deal with that. Explaining it or talking about it won't help. Right? We have a similar problem here. You've got all of this stuff building in your guts that I'm telling you, I know it's hard to believe, I'm telling you it's excitement. It's like that little 8-year-old in the night before Christmas, knowing all those gifts are down there and all those pies are ready to be popped in the oven and it's going to be so amazing. And that 8-year-old conscious mind knows. And so they're okay with all the ah in their guts. You guys haven't realized consciously just how excited this thing in the guts is about the changes that are happening. This is perhaps the most exciting thing that's happened to humanity since they gave up their fins and came out of the oceans. Maybe even more than that. Right? This is a really big deal. But you don't consciously realize it. All you know is your guts are going crazy. And you're seeing all the symptoms. And you're saying, oh, I'm stressed. I must be doing something wrong. And then, like the person who's upset, you look for, what am I stressed about? Oh, I can't get in my guts. I can't ground. I can't be strong while I'm eating. I can't say the right thing to my kids. I can't get along with my spouse. You look for something to focus all that seeming frustration on. And once you've got it, you say, oh, I'm frustrated because of this. I hate myself because of this. I'm criticizing myself because of this. What I want you to understand is you're taking something that you don't really get here. You're assuming it's bad, and then you're finding a reason. And this is what's creating all of the upset across the entirety of humanity, right? And then the obsessive behaviors are an effort to try and deal with it. Yes, I have to lock the door and unlock it 8 times when I come in. Yes, I'm anorexic and I count every calorie obsessively. Yes, I'm obsessive about eating and I have to keep eating in order to not feel so much. I'm obsessive about making more money or getting a promotion at work or being the most famous this or the most popular that or the best this or throwing the best parties in my junior high school. All of these things are something to focus on. The obsession, whatever obsession it is, all of the obsessions that your world is being just eaten alive by right now are simply a response to the recognition that something in your guts is going, oh my God! But it's an, oh my God, I'm about to go on that roller coaster that goes upside down. It's not, oh my God, a comet's going to fall on my head. I just want you to understand that your simple mind, your first mind, feels those the same way. That, oh my God, it's a roller coaster. Ah! Feels just like, oh my God, it's Godzilla and it's going to eat me. Ah! All of the physical responses are the same. So, when something inside says, all this change in the world is like the day before Christmas. Oh, wow, ah! All you hear is, ah! And you think something's wrong. And you look for a reason. I hate myself. My parents were alcoholics. My dad's a bully. My job sucks. My school's terrible. I'm not good enough at this. I'm not succeeding at that. And you find all these reasons to be obsessive. And then you find obsessive behaviors. I feel obsessive, so I got to do something obsessively. I've got to eat too much, or not eat enough, or work too hard, or throw the best parties, or be the best looking, or be the most popular, or be the best at this video game, or make the most money, or make my company the most successful. These obsessive behaviors are all just expressions of an obsessive response to the blah in the guts. And so, if you can take a step back, You notice a self-criticism. You notice a violence and anger and frustration, an impatience, a wanting to fight, to run away. If you notice that and you can step back and actually look in your guts, you'll probably find that. Blah! And if you can find that and stop for a moment, and you can't really talk to your guts about this, you can talk with them, but it's your head you've got to talk to. It's the theoretically smart part of you. If you can talk to it and say, hey, that blah is because we're about to go on a roller coaster. That's excitement. This is the day before Christmas. If you can find a way to tell yourself that, then you can find that blah instead of saying, oh my God, I'm so nervous, I'm doing something wrong. I've got to figure out how to ground. I'm a terrible person. You can say, oh my God, I'm so excited, something must be going right. Maybe I should just jump up and down and go, yay! Maybe that's a good way to handle this excitement. And you'll find, hey, kitten, fetch the cat out of my room. You'll find that it's not just humans. Cats and dogs are showing obsessive and neurotic behavior, running around and crying and fussing and not being able to settle down. It's kind of universal. So many of you are feeling this. If you can take a step back, when you notice an obsessive behavior, or when you feel a tendency towards obsession in your guts, or when you just notice a blah going on in your guts, if you can take a step back and just look at it from a different side, it'll be a totally different thing. There's a famous book, or was a few years ago, by Hofstadter called Gödel Escher Bach. It's a terrible book, but it was famous. And I mention it because the cover had a carved block of wood. They just looked kind of weird. And it had 3 lights shining from 3 of the sides. And when the light shone through this way, the shadow it projected was a G. When the light shone through that side, the shadow it projected over here was an E. When the light shone from here, the shadow projected over here was a B. Right? So when you looked at the block from this side, you say, clearly it's a B. No, clearly it's a G. No, I see it as an E. That it was, in fact, all of those things. And so you could just turn the block and look at it from a different side. Now, I know that this is probably a little confusing to you, but I'm telling you, you can find that blah in your guts and turn it, look at it from a different side. And say, whoa, that's so exciting, I don't know how to handle it. I mean, right now what you're saying is something's wrong. I must be screwing up. I'm a terrible person. And that is an intellectual response to blah. You can choose a different intellectual response. Say, oh my God, I'm a terrible person. Wait a minute. I know that that's a response to the blah. Let me find the blah. There's the blah. I'm going to recognize that blah as a blah. That's an I'm about to go on a roller coaster. That's an it's Christmas Eve and I get this huge pile of gifts. It's excitement. Now, I've talked to you about this before in general, that you can look at fear, anxiety, and recognize it as excitement. I'm telling you now that it's a much bigger picture. Your society is destroying itself. Businesses are working their employees to death. People are being stuck in sweatshops and literally worked to death all over the world. Banks are desperately trying to make a little more money, so they're foreclosing on homes and people are living on the streets. Criminals are desperately trying to get a little more, and crime is in many places at an all-time high. People are desperately trying to control and make and shape and do, instead of just experiencing life. And it's destroying families, it's destroying relationships. Politicians are screwing up countries, teachers are screwing up students. It's happening all over the place. If any of you are in a relationship, you've probably screwed up that relationship. If not completely, at least in part, because of the same obsession. You get this blah going on, and you take it out on the other person. It's screwing up relationships, it's destroying families, it's making kids never want to talk to their parents again. It's just causing all kinds of trouble. And so while I've told you before that you can reinterpret the anxiety as excitement, I'm telling you now that there is a fundamental problem across all of society. And all of these many dysfunctions I've listed and a lot more are coming from this fundamental problem, this obsessiveness, this obsessive tendency. And I'm telling you that what I've said before is possible. I'm telling you now that it's necessary to find the seeming panic in your guts and reinterpret it as excitement. Oh, it's the night before the best Christmas ever. Oh, I'm so excited I can't sleep. To reinterpret that anxiety as excitement will allow you to let it grow. Right now you're saying, oh, I got to press it down. It's wrong. It's bad. It's terrible. I'm a bad person. I'm crazy. I'm not calm. I'm not stable. Quit being stable. Right? Let the current carry you. There's this huge wave trying to carry everybody forward. And it's like they're desperately hanging onto the banks for fear of what's ahead. I'm telling you, let go. Let this blah in your guts get even bigger until you're standing in line in front of the roller coaster and it's not just blah, you're going, oh my goodness, ah! Let it build like that. Let it get really big. Jump up and down, run around and scream, climb a tree. Right? This is a much better way to handle it than getting obsessive and creating obsessive or self-critical, other critical behaviors. Because this is what it is. I spent a long time here, the last 24 hours, reviewing this and looking at it from many different perspectives at really deep levels. Most of the problems you're having in your life right now. Listen to the people outside. They're doing it. Most of the problems you're having in your life right now are because you're interpreting this overpowering yay as an overpowering ah! And then creating all these things to try and control it. I'm telling you, stop controlling. I don't know if you can hear it on the microphone, but there are people outside, woohoo, be like that. Life provides us an example right here. And if you can do that, if you can reinterpret that blah as yay, and instead of trying to ground it and get rid of it so you can be safe, let it build and get stronger. Until it's so big you think you're going to go crazy. Ah, blah, blah. But you're excited. Oh my God, it's getting better and better. Ah, let it get bigger and bigger until it's so big you can't stop it. And then let it carry you forward. And then instead of struggling to make the next level, instead of struggling to get over your shadow pieces, instead of struggling to stay awake and stay focused, right? Instead of struggling, you'll find that these things are happening naturally because this excitement is coming up and like a powerful river, it's just carrying you downstream. All you gotta do is float. Little doggy paddle once in a while. Right? Grab onto a big fat buoyant person. And just let it carry you. Exactly. Just let it carry you. And this simple idea, it won't just make your elf path process much easier. If applied, it will change everything. Incidence of cancer will fall off to almost nothing. High blood pressure, hypertension, heart disease, kidney stones, all this crazy medical issues, they will just start dropping off. Because the medical is just a treatment of the physical, and the physical is just a reflection of the emotional. When you start treating that emotional as so much, yay, I don't know what to do with it, instead of so much, I'm screwing everything up, I'm a terrible person, you're going to find the physical body gets healthier and healthier. The elf path process gets easier. The fights within families and relationships are going to go away. All of this stuff is just going to stop. Because all of these expressions are just obsessive behaviors coming from obsession, coming from a misinterpretation of this massive yay trying to go on in your guts. Humanity is changing, which means each and every one of you is changing right now. Your energy has to increase so that instead of being here, it can live up here. And you can be so excited. And you need more energy to stay up here than you do to stay down here. Right? So more energy has to come in and flow. And as more comes in, you're going to feel more and more. And if every time it happens you think, eek, I'm screwing up. I can't get in my guts. I'm a terrible person. And you try and ground it, then you're going to stay like this. Forever! Until it gets so big that it just knocks you over and carries you along. If you can just do this reinterpretation in the guts of the wah as yay, it will change everything. Individually, socially, internationally, in schools and businesses and relationships. This one little secret. This is like a sonic screwdriver. It'll open any door. It can be used for anything. This is like a super key. This is the ultimate hack. Whatever your problem is, whatever the problems the people around you are having, the vast majority are simply responses to this obsessive thing that comes from misinterpreting the excitement as drama, as chaos. And if you can go back today, right now if you like, and make a conscious decision to reinterpret all the crazy as yay, you'll start to change. And 10 minutes from now, when you feel it again, and your shoulders are up to here, and you can't ground, go back and reinterpret it as, oh, my shoulders are up to here. I must be really excited. Yay! Oh my goodness! My shoulders are up here already. I'll put my hands up too. The more that you can do this, you may find that you're hard for people to be around because you're always shouting and jumping and singing and you have a lifetime of training, many lifetimes, some of you, training to be self-critical, training to be critical of others, training to be abusive or violent or stupid. And it's going to take more than one dose of this to fix it. In addition to all the things in your guts that want to say, blah, there's all the habits you've developed over the years. And so this is one you're going to have to apply over and over. If you make it a point to do this 10 to 50 times a day, look for any tension, any anxiety, anything, and say, oh, that's a yay. And then treat it like a yay. Jump up and down, stick your hands in the air, stick a French fry up your nose, right? Something that makes you go, yay. Right? We've got one here who every time she gets excited, she leaps out of her guts. It's an obvious example. Excitement comes, ooh, that's bad, run away. No, stay in your guts and be excited. Excitement's good. Excitement's your friend. And when you do this, what you're going to find is that there's a lot of excitement there. And the more you pay attention to it, the stronger it'll get. And if you're inclined to go, ah, this is going to be very difficult because it's going to keep getting stronger and stronger. But if every time it gets stronger, you can say, oh, I know you. You're a yay. You don't look like a yay. You don't smell like a yay. You don't taste like a yay. But I know your secret. Exactly. I know your secret. You really are a yay under there. And I'm going to treat you like a yay, whether you like it or not. Yay! You don't go, oh, I don't know what to do with that. And you say, oh, look, that must be yay too. Look, more yay. And as you can do this, as you can let yourself build this excitement, more and more excitement's going to happen. And the excitement, literally excited, is an increased energy. As you let that excitement increase, the energy is going to increase. As the energy increases, you're more excited. As you let that excitement happen, there's going to be more energy. And pretty soon there's going to be so much coming through that it's just barreling you through things. Right? You're going to be a yellow belt for 2 weeks and think, oh, I'm ready for orange. And you spend a month at orange and all right, I'm ready for green. It's just going to be carrying you through this stuff. You won't have to struggle. Your hardest part will be learning the terms. All the rest will be easy because this energy will carry you. And if it sounds like I'm promising a panacea, a cure-all, that's because I am. This is a cure-all. This is a magic pill. This is a sonic screwdriver. This will fix everything. Well, at least a whole lot of things. 90 to 95% of the problems you have, every one of you in your life right now, 90 to 95% of them can be fixed by this. You're dealing with a shadow piece. What do shadow pieces do when you get happy? They run and hide. Oh, stop making all that happy. I can't take it. Right? You're fighting with your spouse. Well, you start saying yay and laughing and singing all the time. Your spouse will go, oh yeah, it's a great day. Here's a big hug. Let's go have a burrito. You can't fight with that. You can bitch and whine and moan a little bit, but a fight doesn't get any traction against that. It just keeps falling on its face. Eventually it feels stupid and it quits trying. I think Hafiz has a poem about making an effort to be happy. And the grumpy pieces inside say, you keep being happy, we're just going to pack up and leave, we don't like this. And that's how it works. All those angry, grumpy, frustrated, stuck, zombie, whatever pieces. When they start seeing all the yay, they think, I don't know what to do, it's too big for me. And it's a huge amount of fun along the way. I am offering you here a magic pill, a super tool, the ultimate key that will unlock most of the doors in your life. And if you practice it, you do this once or twice and stop, it won't make a difference. It's a key you actually have to put indoors and turn. Right? Yeah, magic key, okay. I'll go back to living in the dump. No, if you take this and apply it, it will change everything in your life. And as you begin to teach it to others, it will change things in their life. And what you're going to find as you start doing this is you're happy more. I mean, you're walking down the street singing and la 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 la. People are going to say, you on drugs? No, man, life's just so cool. Let me tell you about it. They're going to start following you around. Right? It's like going into the bar and saying, bartender says, what do you want? You say, well, I'll have what the guy on the floor is having. It's like that. People say, well, clearly it's working for you. I want it. And you're going to find that you don't have to try and get people to listen. You're going to be so happy people will want to be around you. You're going to be so excited people will be saying, I want what you have. What is it? If it's drugs, I'll take it. You know, whatever. I want that. Because they're all anxious and afraid and upset and looking for excitement in their life. And it's not complicated. It is so simple, you almost don't believe it's possible. But it is possible. It's so simple. It's just finding every time something inside goes, irk, you recognize, oop, that's a tension, that's an anxiety, that's a, wait a minute. I know what you really are. You're a tiny yay. I'm going to make you a big yay. And people say, you're anxious, you're upset, you should ground that. I'm not upset, I'm excited. Let me make it bigger. Let me make it more yay. Until the point where the senses are all hiding in the corner because the shapers are all going, ah, ah, ah. This little piece, if you can learn to apply it, will solve 90 to 95% of the problems in your world right now. That's it. This one tiny piece, it unlocks everything. Now, like a lot of this stuff, these super huge revelations, and I feel this is a super huge revelation. It will fix all kinds of crazy stuff. These big ones are almost too big to get a handle on. And so you're going to have to develop tools. You're going to have to develop tools of awareness. Oh, there's a tension, there's an anxiety, right? You're going to have to develop tools of the shift in perspective. The, I know what you really are. You have to find ways to do that, methods that work for you. And you're going to have to find tools of expression when you do start getting super excited. Right? You're going to have to find tools that will work with this. Yes, that look right there, that's not super excited. This thing is so big, I feel that it can take a 3-year Elf Path Black Belt process and turn it into a 1.5 years, maybe a year. I mean, the only reason it still takes that long is because you actually have to grow in the process. But when you've let go and the current is just carrying you downstream, the growing is happening automatically. It's like putting bone meal on one of your square trees. Woo! Just like that. Yes. Yes, I can find metaphors for everybody if I try. This one's so big it's not a metaphor, it's a meta 10.5. It'll apply to everything.
All the way up to 11.
Yes, on a scale of 1 to 10, this is a 10.5. This little secret will unlock so much magic and so much beauty and so much fun and so much excitement in your life that you won't believe it's possible until you start doing it. But I have sensed this and scanned it and worked it and shaped it from every angle I could find, and it's real. It will do it. All the struggle, all the fuss, all the difficulty, you can make almost all of it go away. There may still be a time once in a while where we really have to focus. Times when things are difficult. But those times will be few and far between, where you really have to. Because most of the time you're just so excited that you're, on rollerblades with a jetpack. You're not struggling to get up the hill, you're just woo! It's that big a thing. So, with that, I will leave you. I encourage you to explore this and play with it in your life, even tonight, especially tonight, because you just heard it. Play with. I'm actually excited. That little inside is actually, oh my God, I'm so excited, I can't wait for Christmas. Play with that. Do it on purpose, over and over and over again. See if you can make it so big that you can't sit still with excitement. You're like little kids, ooh, ooh, ooh. Right? Make it like that. Cartoon character, stuff coming out of your ears, right? Make it like that. See if you can do it. And if you can find ways to get a hold of this truth, it will reshape everything in your life. And if we can begin to convey it to the rest of the world, it will solve the majority of the problems in your world immediately. That's all.